Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another story. Today we are on our final story from the Silly Stories book. Today's story is my favourite. It's the one I always read to the children first. And it's called Little Red Riding Wolf, which is obviously based on Little Red Riding Hood. In the very darkest corner of the deep, dark wood sat the big, bad girl. The big bad girl was just about as big and as bad as a girl can be, and all the woodland animals were afraid of her. She hung about beside the forest path and carved her name on trees. She shouted rude things at the little animals who passed by. "Come on, big ears, up to it!" The big bad girl tripped up little deer. She stole fir cones from baby squirrels and threw them at poor little hedgehogs. The woodland birds didn't dare to sing when the big bad girl was around. But the person the big bad girl liked to tease most of all was a charming little wolf cub, who often passed by on his way to visit his dear old Granny Wolf. Little Wolfie was the sweetest, fluffiest, politest little cub you could ever hope to meet. He would run along the path, skippity skip, carrying a basket of freshly baked goodies for old Granny Wolf, singing all the time, "I'm little Wolfie, good and sweet. I am tidy, I am neat. With a basket full of lovely grub, I am Granny's favourite cub." "What's in your basket today, little weedy Wolfie wimp?" snarled the big bad girl. Apple pies? I'll take those. Jam sandwiches? Very tasty." Oh dear, now there'll be nothing for dear old Granny Wolf," wailed little Wolfie, and his little wolfy tears rolled into the empty basket. Now, the big bad girl's father was not big or bad at all. He was a kind old hat maker who loved hats in every shape and size and thought everyone should wear one night and day. But the sad truth was, his hats were so awful that nobody would buy them. He had only sold one nightcap in his entire life, and the family were terribly poor. "I can't understand it," he sighed. "I make these marvellous hats from dawn until dusk until my fingers are worn to the bone, but even my own daughter won't wear one. Please, my dear," he begged, "wear this one for me." "Father," answered the appalling child, "I would rather wear one of your old socks on my head than this hat. Why can't you get a decent job? Nobody's a hat maker these days. Can you be a woodcutter like other people's dads?" The big bad girl hated hats so much that as soon as her father gave her a new one, she would run into the woods and give it to a baby badger or a little squirrel to wear, whether they liked it or not. Then, to her father's dismay, she would return home bareheaded, pretending she had lost the hat in the forest. One day, however, the big bad girl's father made her a hat that was more ridiculous than anything he'd made before. This one was a real monster. It was bright red with a woolly bobble on top, little flaps over the ears and dangly bows to tie under the chin. It even had a small red cape to match. The old man was delighted with his creation. "Surely my daughter will love this one," he laughed, jumping up and down with excitement. But the big bad girl said, "Father, you have made some vile things in your life, but this hat is the pits. I would rather wear your old underpants on my head. You have as much fashion sense as a dung beetle." As her father lay weeping in his workshop, the big bad girl stomped into the forest to find some unsuspecting little animal to wear the Red Riding hat. But alas, this one was so awful that no one would touch it. Even the woodland charity shop sent her away. The big bad girl sat by the forest path wondering what to do. "Surely someone will be stupid enough to wear this hat," she said. And as she spoke, she heard a delightful little song. "I'm a little wolfie, smart and clean, never nasty, never mean. Hello flowers, hello trees, hello humble bumblebees." Who should come along the path, skippity skip, but little Wolfie. "Aha!" sniggered the big bad girl. "Here comes creepy cutesy custody cub. My Red Riding hat would suit him perfectly. I will trick him into wearing it, then I will make fun of him forever. Ha 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 ha!" "Where you going, little fluffy flea face?" growled the big bad girl. I'm off to visit my darling old Granny Wolf, replied Little Wolfie politely. Well, I've just seen your old Granny Wolf, lied the rotten girl. You can't see her today because she's poorly and she might give her old Granny Wolf germs. Oh, poor old Granny Wolf, sighed Little Wolfie sadly. But, continued the wicked girl, she has made you a lovely sort of hat thing. She told me to give it to you and tell you to never take it off, night or day, even if people laugh at you. Little Wolfie was very pleased until he saw the revolting Red Riding Hat. Then even he had his doubts. But being a good little chap and wanting to please his granny, he tied it on his fluffy little head with the dangly ribbons. The big bad girl almost choked with laughter. Holy sweaty snake socks, she thought. This little wolf is unbelievably stupid. But Little Red Riding Wolf said thank you politely and set off home, skippity-skip, chattering away to himself. How pleased I am with my new riding hat that Granny has made me. From now on I will call myself Little Red Riding Wolf. That will please her even more. The big bad girl rolled on the path and roared with laughter. Holy newt knickers! Little Red Riding Wolf? What a name! A wolf should be called Hairy Howler or Bone Cruncher or Old Yellow Eyes. Little Red Riding Wolf is a terrible name. All that day Little Wolfie wore the red riding hat and tried not to notice when people laughed at him. The next morning he said to himself, Surely my dear old Granny Wolf will be better today. I will run along the path and show her how pleased I am with my lovely hat. And off he went, skippity-skip. I'm a little wolfie so polite. I am brave. I am bright. I am happy. I am good in my new red riding hood. But by the side of the path, in the middle of the deep dark wood, blowing bubbles with her gum, something really nasty was waiting for her. Hey, Tomato Head! I am not a tomato head, said Little Red Riding Wolf, fighting back the tears. I'm Little Red Riding Wolf. Well, where are you going, Ketchup Cap? Demanded the big bad girl, wiping her filthy nose on the back of her hand. Oh, I'm going to dear old Granny Wolf's house to see if she is better and to thank her for this lovely hat. Now excuse me while I fill my basket with these pretty spring flowers for her kitchen table. While Little Red Riding Wolf picked his flowers, the big bad girl picked her nose thoughtfully. That wrinkly old Granny Wolf will spoil my fun, she said to herself. I will take a shortcut to her house. If she gives me any trouble, I will lock her in the cupboard. Then I will pretend to be dear old Granny Wolf. I bet she's even smaller and weedy than little Strawberry Top. So the big bad girl ran as quickly as she could to old Granny Wolf's house. It was a very big house for a little old Granny Wolf, but Granny Wolf was out chopping wood in the forest. The big bad girl climbed in the back window and ran indoors, just as Little Red Riding Wolf tapped on the door. Old Granny Wolf, it is I, Little Red Riding Wolf in my brand new hat. Holy hopping hedgehog droppings! That was quick, said the big bad girl. She ran up the stairs and searched for somewhere to hide. She noticed a huge bed, but how could she make herself look like old Granny Wolf? On the hook on the back of the door, the big bad girl found Granny Wolf's pink lacy nightcap. Little Wolfie had bought it for Granny Wolf's birthday, but she never really wore it. Of course, the big bad girl hated hats, and this one was even worse than the Red Riding Hat. But the big bad girl had no choice. She pulled the ghastly nightcap right down to her eyes and climbed into bed, just as Little Red Riding Wolf came running up the stairs. Skippity-skip. Granny Wolf, where are you? He called. Over here, little woolly hood head, answered the big bad girl. Oh, Granny Wolf, thank you for the beautiful hat you made me. Doesn't it look wonderful? Yeah, little bobble brain, really wicked, replied the big bad girl. But Granny Wolf, what a tiny voice you have, and what small teeth you have too. Perhaps you are still poorly. You seem so pale and weedy today. Listen, little jam man, you should learn not to make personal remarks, snapped the big bad girl. But Granny Wolf, what small ears you have. In fact, I don't think you are my Granny Wolf at all. She's much bigger than you. At that precise moment, Granny Wolf pushed open the door. Granny Wolf was enormous. She had huge yellow eyes, big sharp teeth, and a long dribbly tongue. She was carrying a great sharp axe. Ah, little Wolfie, she said, what a nice surprise. You're just in time for tea, but why are you wearing that ridiculous hat? And what is this in my bed? It looks like a big bad girl. A very tasty big bad girl. Just right for my big bad tea. The big bad girl leapt out of bed, down the stairs, out the door, into the forest and along the path, as fast as her big bad legs would carry her. She hammered on her father's door. Father, father, yelled the big bad girl. Let me in, I will be good, I'll do whatever you ask. Her father peeped out the window. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. There was his daughter wearing a delightful nightcap. It reminded him of the one he'd made himself many years before. He remembered it well because it was the only one he'd ever sold. I will let you in, he said, but only if you promise to wear a hat night and day. The one you are wearing now suits you beautifully. And so, from that day on, the big bad girl became the big good girl, but most of the time. She found a job as a woodcutter, and her boss kept a very careful big yellow eye on her. The big good girl kept her promise to wear a hat every day, although it was usually a chainsaw helmet, and the Red Riding Hat was useful when they had an especially long load. The end. So that's it for those stories. Join me tomorrow when I start reading something different. I won't tell you what it is now. You'll have to come back tomorrow to find out. So thank you ever so much. Hope you've enjoyed those stories from the last 10 days, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.